Despite the myriad of fields coming together in the creation of a video game, the game developer cliché is often one of the reclusive, nerdy programmer coding in a corner. This is not only a misrepresentation of how games are made, but also of how programmers work. Programming is a creative field that requires technical knowledge and lots of interpersonal communication with other disciplines in order to pin down entire systems and mechanics, fix bugs, create rules, and just code an entire world to life. The job of a programmer is to understand a problem, figure out the best solution for that program given a set of constraints, and model that set of solutions as a series of well-engineered abstractions. Sums up Rodrigo Braz Montero, CTO of Chucklefish. Montero has been a programmer in the games industry for 16 years and climbing through the ranks at the Wargroove developer since 2016. We asked him and 3 other programmers with varying seniority levels how one can come to be in this role. Programming is a field that requires hard skills, meaning that a traditional educational path can be beneficial for those who can afford it and who are receptive to that approach. I have a BSc in Computer Science and Engineering and an MSc in Artificial Intelligence, says Duygu Çakmak, who has been a programmer for over a decade and is now Project Technical Director at Creative Assembly. I think my education was closely aligned with what I want to do, and I would recommend a similar path to people who would like to follow a similar formal route in education. Nikhil Ramburan, gameplay programmer at Ubisoft Toronto, recommends looking into either a computer science or an engineering degree if going to school is an option available to you. It does open more opportunities if you choose to do something else halfway through, he explains. My own background is in electrical engineering, so my degree wasn't focused on programming, but I did take some courses. A lot of things about programming are self-taught, in my opinion. Jaden Landry graduated from a bachelor's degree in computer science in 2018 and has been working at Sports Interactive as a gameplay programmer since. He agrees that his degree helped him secure his first job but doesn't think formal education is crucial to becoming a programmer. The best way to develop your skills and learn is to just start programming, he says. At the same time, you will be developing an excellent portfolio that will showcase your talents better than any degree will. If you can show you have the same breadth of knowledge as a graduate, you will have a good chance. Montero is a good example of a self-taught programmer. He did study in adjacent fields but initially started coding when he was 11 through Click and Play, a 1994 game development app, before slowly picking up C and C++ from age 13. Because I didn't think you could realistically be a game developer in Brazil, I ended up going to university for engineering, mechatronics at first, then computer engineering, he says. Having a strong grasp of both computer science and mathematics, especially geometry and linear algebra, is essential, and I strongly disagree with anyone who claims otherwise. But it can be self-taught if you have the inclination for it, and indeed nearly all of my knowledge of computer science is self-taught. Different methods work better for different people, but keep in mind that there will always be a minimum amount of self-teaching that will be needed, since you will be constantly running into novel problems frequently throughout your whole career. For people who learn better by themselves, self-teaching might be the better option. There are other benefits that university will provide, of course, such as connecting you with a network of mentors, potential employees, and like-minded people, but it is far from the only road. When it comes to hiring programmers, I don't consider whether they actually hold a relevant or any degree, as their body of work is a far more important metric. Chakmak also highlights that there are many ways to learn beyond traditional paths. Attending conferences ultimately had real value for my journey. I went to the nuke.ai conference, which is where I met the creative assembly team, she says. I don't think that formal education is necessarily crucial for a successful career in programming, regardless of whether you have tertiary education or not. Curiosity and self-learning and a drive for continuous self-improvement is the best route to success. For this field especially, given that it's always advancing, if an individual chooses a path of self-education, there is a need to continually identify knowledge gaps and areas for improvement, and strive to learn those areas systematically and autonomously. Finding your first job as a games programmer has more to do with your portfolio than it has to do with your experience. And as already highlighted, said portfolio can be built in autonomy or through a degree. There are opportunities to become a games programmer through junior positions, and these usually don't require previous experience, but they will usually be looking for a bachelor's degree or a stellar portfolio, Landry says. Without experience, there must be some evidence of you being passionate and knowledgeable about the subject matter. Build games or small programs while you hone your skills and show them off. This will almost always convey your feelings accurately. You can learn a lot by doing game development projects and getting them out to the public, Ramboron says, adding, even more than people who went to school. You will learn to design, code, and most importantly, test your video game, he continues. I am definitely a more practical person, so I learned a lot through making projects than I could have from just school. As for getting into games, having game dev projects absolutely helps you stand out. Some companies have programs for new graduates, like Ubisoft Toronto Next, to help them get into the industry without the experience, so I would keep an eye out for that. You can also make an impact at hackathons like Hack the North and Game Jams.